Alright guys, and these are the Tannoy Gold 7s, which are really amazing speakers, especially for the price. Everything you get is really good in my opinion. So we do have the Gold 7, there's 3 different kinds. There's a 5 and also an 8, which is quite a bit bigger than this, but the 5 is actually a lot smaller. So the 5 has a smaller amplifier, I think at 200 watts, and the 7 and 8 have the 300. So yeah, the 7 is actually a good balance between the two, especially for desktop use like I'm going to use it. But with that said, it's still pretty big and kind of heavy too. So we're going to look a little closer here, but before we do, if you guys can see, there's a little red light that's glowing there. So that is on standby mode, and that does help save some power, as these are class A amplifiers, which makes them go into sleep mode when you're not using them, and actually works pretty well. The only issue I have, you have to have pretty good volume to get them to switch back on. I wish they were a little more sensitive, but the good part is they don't turn off for about 10 minutes after you stop using them. So if you're kind of on and off, they're not going to keep turning off and on. So with my experience so far, they're very good, as once they turn on, they don't turn off. But that is a feature that you can select in the back, and we'll look at that here in a second. And speaking about the back, if we look at the side, guys, you can see it's pretty deep, and it's got a really tough cabinet with a nice texture on it. Very beautiful design with rounded corners. The power cables that come with it, they're very thick and about 6 feet long. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn this off, unplug it. Also, I got some RCA cables running here with an adapter to 1/4 inch, which obviously you need for this speaker. So if we go to the back, hopefully we can see everything here, but yeah, it's really nice. Also here, we got this plate. I want to say it's aluminum maybe, or not too sure to be honest, but we got the model number here. It says Gold 7. Here we have speaker position, left or right. So I do believe that this is for if you're going to sync them together with this cable that's included. So it's basically just a regular TRS cable that links the 2 monitors together, and each of them come with one of these. So if you want to use one to link them, and then one you can actually have an input also right here, like to your phone or whatever has a microphone output jack. So that's really nice that they have that option. Going below that, we have bass adjustment, and so this is just going to tone down the lower frequencies, either -2 or -4, and it's at 0 right now is where I'm going to keep it. So if you're in a really enclosed or small room, this could be very useful. And then we got a bunch of mumbo jumbo here. They are made in China, but designed in the United Kingdom. Here we have the auto standby on and off. So if you don't want them into standby, you can turn that off. But for me, it's very useful, so I'm going to keep that on. And here we have the 2 main inputs, which is the 1/4 inch, 6.3 whatever millimeter that is. And then we have the balanced input XLR. So yeah, I wish they would add an RCA also. That would have been nice, as I did have to get an adapter, which is not a big deal honestly, to connect here. So yeah, and here we have where the main power comes in with an on and off switch. We got a Tannoy logo there. So yeah, very nicely built. A lot of good options here in the back. It's a little dirty, but on the bottom here we have a nice rubber mat, which is through almost the whole bottom, and this is very nice as it gives it a little more cushion and also does not slip at all, which is great because it makes the speaker feel very sturdy. So on the front here we have the Tannoy Dual Concentric transducer, and so basically we have the main voice cone here, and then on the inside we have a tweeter. But what's unique is the way it's all combined together into one unit, which gives it very uniform sound no matter how far or close you are away from. And I guess that's the tulip waveguide. And going down here we have adjustments for input. It's kind of like a gain. It goes from -24 to 0. And then it kind of has a little click on 12, which is halfway. And beside that, we got treble adjustment for high frequencies. And we got 0, and then +1, +2, and then -1, -2. So what I've noticed is here is it's a little aggressive. So if I go from 0 to -1, it really dims it down, and -2 even more. I almost wish that there was something more in between, like a 0.5 or something. And staying at 0 is pretty much perfect, I would say. Going up is definitely not for me, as it becomes a little too harsh. And also another thing I noticed is that if you're too close to it, let's say a couple feet away, it doesn't sound as good as when you're about 3 to 4 or 5 feet away. It sounds very good. And I think maybe it has something to do with this port. And by the way, this is a front firing air port here for the air to move. And I think you do need a few feet, so the sound kind of balances out with the air that comes out here. So yeah, overall, very well built, pretty impressed. But the thing that was even more impressive was the sound coming out of here. We have a very tonal, kind of warm, vocally sound. Now right off the bat, I'm gonna say they're not as flat as some monitors are. They do have coloration in the highs and the lows, I would say. This speaker is actually very good in reproducing really low frequencies, and I mean like it's audible, not to, you know, to an extent of like loud sub bass whatever, but you can actually hear it, which is a very nice balance. And obviously the room configuration that you're in and how everything's set up plays a role in all of that. And also I forgot to mention, you do get a little quick start guide here. It's like a little booklet, but what's cool is that you can see the different models here. So we got the 5, 7, and 8, and you guys can see the 8 is actually quite a bit larger. And I did forget to mention that the 7 is actually a 6.5 driver, and so it's not a huge difference. Well, I guess a decent amount of difference here, but we got much bigger difference to the 8. So keep in mind that the 8 is a very large speaker. So a 7 is good if you want to, you know, squeeze out more out of the 5, but 5s are awesome if, you know, your setup is smaller and you need more room. And here we can see the 3 and 200 watt 8, 6.5, and 5 diameter drivers, and they're also all bi-amplified. So they do have 2 separate amps, one for the tweeter and the other for the main driver.